Now, let me tell you how you can build your resume. Now, this is important here before proceeding to the specific, format of a resume for software developer. I want to tell you, or you have to understand this, that why is your resume required, or why is it important to be structured properly? It should be written properly. Why is so much of emphasis given here that your resume should be professional and you know clear enough for anybody to read? Okay, so what is the objective behind resume building? So objectives of resume building is first that to sell yourself. So guys, before you present yourself in the interview, face to face interview, before that, your resume, a one page text or a two-page text, is going to actually qualify you for any interview. So you can see how important it is. Although you know so many skills, or you have so many capabilities, or you are well versed with the knowledge, but if you are not presenting it, if you are not writing it properly in on that sheet of paper that is your resume, it doesn't make any sense, right? So you can see how important it is. Any recruiter will first select, or go through the resume. If the recruiter feels that the particular uh, candidate has those skills which is required by the hiring partner, then only he or she, the recruiter, is going to process your resume, right? And how will the recruiter know that you have certain skills? Suppose the recruiter is looking for a software developer role, and you have written that you know any programming language like suppose Java or Python, but not highlighted it, not written it as a summary of your resume. And if you're an experienced candidate, maybe your resume can be of 2 page, can be of 3 page. Nobody has so much of time to go through it all, right? It means what? That you should properly format your resume so that the recruiter, if he or she is looking for software developer role, then programming languages which should be at the top itself. Okay, along with writing this, that how well versed you are with that language or programming language. Getting it? So this was one of the example. This is how you have to structure your resume, and this is how important a, a resume is for any job application. Okay. And second objective of resume building is you have to present your capabilities. For sure, if a person is looking for some specified skills, it should be that those skills should be mentioned in the resume at the top. You should present your all the capabilities which you have, which will help any recruiter select your resume. And then the last but not the least, for sure, to set the tone of the interview. Guys, like in your like you have suppose achieved uh, first rank in your college, or you when you achieved some academic excellence award or something, but you forgot to mention that in the resume, or you skipped mentioning it. You see how much difference does it makes. If you write that you have achieved an academic excellence award in your college or school, that says that you have proved yourself somewhere, right? And that will be the eye catching thing for the recruiter. And recruiter, when he will come to interview you, will come with that mindset that okay, so this person is a achiever. He or she has achieved a rank 1 or academic excellence award. Suppose you have qualified your engineering degree, or you have got your any bachelor's degree from a reputed organization, reputed educational institute. Mentioning that in your resume makes a difference compared to if you have done your bachelor's from some institute which is not that famous. Will this too make different, can differentiate a candidate? Yes, it can, right? So how will it differentiate? When the interviewer will come to interview you, he will come with a mindset that, okay, this person is an IITian, this person is a product of NIT, this person is a product of some good college. Or he will come with a mindset that, okay, this person is well versed with this skill, because this person has helped his last company in increasing the profit by this and this number. So by default, the interviewer will be in that mindset that, okay, this person is good actually. Let me just go through and ask that actually he knows or not. Getting it? So that's the last objective of resume building, that is to set the tone of the interviewer. So I hope you understood that how critical a resume, a paper of 2 pages, is important for you. Now let's see few tips which is important to be kept in mind when you are preparing or creating the resume. Okay, these are common tips which is not very relevant to which kind of job you are applying. May it be a software developer role, may it be a mass comm related job, may it be a sales related job, may it be marketing related job. But these points or these tips should be kept in mind no matter what kind of job you are going to apply. Okay, so first point is that it should be tailored for each job. That is, your resume should be highlighting those skills, should be highlighting those quality of yours which plays a major role for you to get selected for a given job profile. That is, you should go through the job description of a job which you are applying, and accordingly you should tailor your or format your resume. Okay, that is what is meaning of tailored for each job. In software developer itself, suppose you are applying for a web developer, you should highlight that you know the programming languages like HTML, CSS, PHP, and so on. If you are applying for a normal, like, no specific software developer, just a developer role, if you are applying, then you should highlight some programming language there. If you are applying as a developer in some networking related company, so apart from highlighting any programming language, you should highlight the network, that networking concepts as well. So that's what is meant by tailored for each job. Okay, so your resume should be structured in that way. Next is include numbers. By including numbers or adding pointers, you can make your resume look clean. Okay, you can make it look concise, basically. Okay, so make sure you are adding numbers. Like, suppose under achievements you have to mention 3 things, and if you mention it in a paragraph, that doesn't look neat. Okay, nobody has that much time to go and read the whole paragraph. And if you have mentioned as numbers or as bullet points, then it is eye catching itself. Like, it will be hardly 2 words or 3 words in each number or each bullet point, or easily read by the recruiter, right? So it will include numbers. Next is include examples to prove your skills. Now, you should not include everywhere, but yeah, according to, as I said, according to the job profile, you should include the numbers, include the examples. Like, it is a sales job, okay? And if you are applying for that, and the previous company you have helped, increase the sales by some number, mention that as an example. Okay, whenever you're writing that skill, you mention that as an example, right? Now, these are the 4 C's actually together that should be kept in mind whenever you are creating any resume or CV. That is your concise, correct, clean, and consistent. Concise meaning to the point. Okay, no extra information should be given. Correct, there should not be any spelling mistakes. Okay, grammar should be correct, because these all gives a negative impact on the recruiter when he or she reads it, right? Clean, it should not be cumbersome. Like, you have created 2-3 columns and you are mentioning some the text in first column, second column, third column, and just to, sometimes what people do is just to accommodate the complete text in one page. Your complete resume should fit into one page. They make the resume, that page look, tidy, right? It should be neat and clean. Let it be of two page, doesn't matter, right? But it should be neat and clean. Next is consistent. Consistent meaning, if you are mentioning awards and achievements, suppose at some place, you should mention all the awards and achievements of yours there itself. Okay, it should not be that you are mentioning that awards and achievements in your education also, that okay, I have graduated from here and I achieved this here, and also you are mentioning in awards and achievements something else. Getting it? You are mentioning that you have attended this webinar and some maybe hackathon, and you have achieved this certificate. This you are mentioning under awards. May mention all these under your skills. To prove you that you have the skills, you can mention your certificates, you mention your other attended places, other conferences or hackathons which you have attended. Getting it? So it should be consistent. The information should not be scattered throughout the page here and there under different sections. Relevant. Relevant with respect to the job you are applying. Now, it should not be that you are applying for a marketing job and you have not highlighted any of your marketing skills. You have highlighted that you are a good software developer, you have done this, that, all the skills, everything, but nowhere it's mentioned that you possess some skills which is relevant to a marketing job. Okay, so relevancy is very much important also here. These are the tips for which are common for any resume for any job profile you are applying. Now, few must have informations on resume. Okay, so first one is, I'll come to must not have informations later, but I want to just tell you first which are the must have informations on resume. Okay, must have informations is your name for sure. Okay, your phone number, your email address, your city, that is place. Okay, so you can just write here in place, you just have to mention the city and the country, that will be enough. And then also you can mention your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so these are the must have informations on a resume. Now, what all points you should keep in mind for writing these, that I'll discuss a little bit later, but let me tell you what are the must not have informations on resume. This is more important. First is your date of birth. You should not include any such information on your resume which can lead to discrimination between candidates. Okay, so date of birth can lead to discrimination on the basis of age. Correct? So until and unless the job profile demands it, you should not include date of birth. Second, full address. Like I said, you should write the place right here. Place should include only the city name and the country name. It should not include your street name or your locality name or a house number, nothing. Religion. Again, religion can lead to discrimination, right? So you should not include religion. Gender also can lead to discrimination. So do not include gender as well in your resume. You should not include the professional email ID. For example, professional email ID, I mean that if you are working somewhere and that official email ID you have, right? Don't write official email ID in your resume. Always write the personal email ID which you have, which you use it for your personal work. Don't write the official email ID of your previous company. Okay, so these are the must not informations which you should keep in mind. Now let me talk about resume format. That is, what are the different aspects that comes under the formatting of a resume. Okay, so the first thing is resume template. So what kind of template you should follow? So if you are using some resume builder tool, there you will find so many templates, right? There can be different names assigned also to those templates, but you can follow any of those according to what you feel correct. But only one point you have to keep in mind is it should be the format which you are selecting, the template which you are selecting should reflect your information in a chronological order. Okay, so generally this kind of format is widely used, that here there will be a photograph of yours, and then here will be your name and as I said, the important informations, name, your email ID, phone number, your place. city and country. That's it. And maybe LinkedIn profile if you want to, you give LinkedIn profile URL. And then on this side, it will start from a summary. Okay, here it will be the summary. And after this, down, there will be the skills which you possess. Okay, hard skills, soft skills, both. In this side, there will be the objective or the summary of your resume. And then there will be work experience, education. So this is your chronological order. And then awards and certification. So generally, this is the template which is followed. You can select any, but just maintain this, that your information should be in a chronological order on the resume. Okay. Now comes is your phone number. So give only one phone number here is what I'm going to mention, and make sure that phone number, you are always available on that phone number. Okay. It should not go like, it's switched off or it's out of reach. That also gives a negative impact, because the person will try reaching you once or maybe twice, and then gone, your resume will be cited somewhere. Next is your email address. The thing to keep in mind for email address is that you should not give that email address which you would have created in college. Like generally in college and school, we create email addresses which are having some funky names and some long names, right? It will be like 30 characters and then @gmail.com. So that should not be there. So those, don't include those kind of email addresses there, or the email addresses which is having a name of a superhero or some kind of funky or weird names, words you have included in the email address. So please create a new email address in that case, and then you can give that here as on your resume. Okay. Coming to photographs. So photographs, guys, again, photographs can lead to violation of labor laws in many countries. In India, it's not there. You can put your photograph, but in US, in UK, these kind of countries, putting photograph on your resume violates the labor law. So please be sure that in which country you are and where you are applying for the job, and accordingly you can put your photographs. Okay. LinkedIn profile. So you can include your LinkedIn profile, but make sure your LinkedIn profile is properly updated. All the skills are mentioned there. All your current designation, your current employment place, everything is mentioned and is up to date. Only in that case you provide your LinkedIn profile. Else it is optional, you can skip that as well. But adding LinkedIn profile to your resume nowadays is an added advantage. Okay. Because in LinkedIn profile, there are other informations also, like people would have referred you for a particular job, or, you would have earned a badge as a skill for any skill. So that all gives a good impression on the recruiter. So it's a good practice if you can include LinkedIn profile, but make sure it is updated. Soft skills. So with respect to soft skills, I would like to say that it is mandatory actually. Many people think that, okay, only telling that, you have professional related skills, professional meaning the technology tools related skills you have to mention, that is important. No, soft skills are equally important. Okay. Soft skills like, team building, leadership, disciplined. No, you are disciplined, you are prudent. So all this comes under soft skills, which are equally important for you to get, attracted for any recruiter, to any recruiter. Okay. Hobbies. Guys, you can mention hobbies, but make sure it is relevant to the job you are applying. Like, for example, if you are applying for a job of a blogger, okay, to some company which writes blogs, text-based blogs I'm talking, and you have to apply there, then you can write your hobby that, blogging is your hobby. You love writing blogs. That will be, helpful. If you are applying for a software developer job in any IT company which deals with artificial intelligence and machine learning, then you can write your hobby there, that you are very much interested into 3D games, or you're very much interested into virtual reality, right? So hobbies can be written, but make sure it is somewhere adding a point to your skills. Now, number of pages in resume. So guys, there is no as such a fixed rule that you should have a resume of just 1 page. If you had a resume of 2 page, it will be a blunder. No, but don't have resume more than 2 page for sure. It's good if you can fit all your skills in a concise manner, in a clean and neat manner on single page. It's advisable. Okay. But don't try to clutter your resume just to fit all the information on a single page. You can move it to the second page also. Okay. Now, guys, let me talk about how can you frame or format your resume if you are a fresher and you want to apply for a job. Now, here I'm again talking as a general thing, that is any job profile. If you have to apply and you are a fresher, these three things you should definitely have in your resume. First is the training which you have done. The place where you have done the training is very important. What exactly the work you have done in the training? Have you impacted the company in some way? All these are important. Okay. So if at all these three things are there in your training period, then definitely mention it. If you have done multiple trainings, don't hesitate to mention all those trainings which you have done. Many people do the training for like 1 month or 2 months, and then maybe like suppose 4 years of engineering. If I talk, maybe from second year itself, student they do training of 1 month, 2 months, then 6 months also, depending upon how the structure is of the curriculum is. Mention all that, and also mention which tool you worked on. What was the duration of that training? Okay, more than duration, this is important, that what work you did there, what platform you worked on. Okay, certifications. Certifications is also important. If you have done certifications on, maybe you have done free certifications also. If you have done paid certification, doesn't matter. The point here is that you have completed a given course, you have knowledge of that, and you have earned a certificate at the end. Sometimes, some places when you do the certifications, you are not handed over with a certificate at the end of the course. Okay. In that case, you can provide the URL of the place from where you have done the certification. But having a certificate is a good thing, is advisable, because that actually proves that you have completed the course. Once you have completed the course, then only you get the certifications, right? After maybe clearing a test also sometimes. So mention those, and also if you have those certificates, you can provide the certificate number if at all anything is there of that sort, or you can provide the link to the certificate. If it is, you can upload it to your Google Drive and you can provide the link. If the recruiter wants access of it, they will request for the access. And if you feel free, or if you feel like giving the access, you can give for the recruiter to view the certificates. Okay. Coming to skills. Skills are also important as a fresher. So as a fresher, we don't have experience, right? That we can mention, we can have numbers that, okay, I have worked on this, I have worked on that project, I have worked with this kind of a team. So what added advantage you people as a fresher can have is that you can strengthen your resume by mentioning in detail these things. And if you don't, try to have some certifications. Okay, doing a certifications can take maybe 1 week hardly, if at all you devote your time properly. So make sure you have those. Okay. Skills. Skills can be like developing a project, a small mini project completely on your own is also a skill. You can mention that you know this programming language, you know this particular, uh, tool or particular technology, because you have done a project on this. Okay. uh, Not just with the respect to software developer, but any domain you are applying the job for the job, skills you can mention there. Okay. If you have a relevant proof to say that, okay, how you say that you possess the skills, you can mention it, or you can save it as an answer when it is asked in the interview. Okay. So these are the points which has to be there on your resume as a fresher, because these are going to only highlight your resume from rest of the others. Now let me talk about resume building for software developers as freshers. Now, specific to software developer, I'm going to talk how a fresher can frame or format the resume. Okay. As a fresher, the important thing is your education, right? From where you are doing the education. Okay. Suppose you are in the final year, you can mention that the CGPA also there, that you have scored this much CGPA till your third year, or if you've completed your degree, you can mention that after 4 years, or if it is a 3 year degree, you can mention that after 3 years, this is my CGPA. Okay. If your CGPA is really good, mention it. If it is really less, do not mention it. Okay. Because CGPA actually is optional. If it is really good, then if mentioning that can be no eye-catching thing for your resume. But if it is very less and you're mentioning it, it can be a demotivating thing. So you can skip that in that case. Okay. So that's what about education. Okay. You can also mention like many colleges or many institutions, they have this facility of giving you option of doing certification, some extra courses, right? So if at all you have done that, at that apart from your curriculum or syllabus, if you have taken up some course, you can mention that while mentioning your education itself. Because in education, you have to mention your 10th from where you have done, right? What was the year of passing? And that's it, right? Two informations. And what was the percentage? And then coming to your 12th also you have to mention the same thing. Then your graduation degree. And if you're in a final year, in graduation you can mention your the college or the institution name, the place, from the year which you have started. And if it is continuing, you can mention from this year, and then you can mention in bracket third year student or second year student. Okay. And then you can mention the extra things, courses, like apart from syllabus, if you have done some you have learned any course, I'm talking about any subject, not certifications or those things. If you have learned any extra subject as an optional subject you have taken, you can mention that. Okay. Again, depending upon the job profile, you can frame it like that. For software developer, if you have done any extra course which is adding to the software developer profile, then you can mention that. Coming to skills and certifications, you can mention the skills like programming languages, that is Java, Python, C++, .NET. Uh, these are very common ones. If you have done something else like Ruby, C, Perl, these kind of languages, if you have learned also, you can mention those as skills. Okay. Again, soft skills and hard skills both are important here. So as a fresher, what kind of soft skills you can mention? Like as experience, you can mention, right, a few things like team building, this, that. But as a fresher, what kind of soft skills you can mention? It can be that, like, suppose you have done a project in your final year. Okay. And there you are the one who led the team. You can mention that leadership skills you have. And if asked, you can mention that you were the one who kept the team bounded and you led the team with an example. Getting it? So you can mention leadership there also. Just that you should have a valid point to prove yourself, to explain yourself. What other qualities you can mention in soft skills apart from leadership? Discipline, right? Timely completion of work. All the deadlines of submission of assignments, submission of projects were met by you. You can have you that as a proof, and you can mention that, right? So yeah, these are the soft skills also you can mention. So do not hesitate that soft skills are only these kind of things which you like, leadership and team building and teamwork, which you can only prove when you have some prior experience in the prior company. No, as a student, as a fresher also, you can mention these. Coming to certifications, so in software developer, if you have done certification with respect to these programming languages which I mentioned. Also, guys, in hard skills, you can mention the tools, the softwares. A lot of tools are there. Like many companies, they work on those tools itself. So if you have learned any of those set of tools, you can mention that as well. Okay. If you have done a certification on those tools and softwares, you can mention that as well. Okay. So these are the mandatory points under skill certifications and education if you are applying for a role of software developer as fresher. Okay. Again, try to have quantified values. That is, try to put numbers as many possible in your resume. Numbers, when I say, when if you have written education, as I said, number is your CGPA. When you're writing certifications, number is your, the certificate link that you have completed the course. You have gained the certificate. You have completed the test. That's your number, right? Under skills, the number will be your, suppose you are mentioning, hard skills. Not about soft skills. You can't include numbers there. Those are not quantifiable skills, right? They are just explanatory. So hard skills, you can put up numbers. Okay. For example, if you're writing that you have a good knowledge of Java programming, you can write that you have the hard skills is Java programming, and you can put up a scale there that out of 10 you give yourself or rate yourself to 8. Okay. Out If you know Python programming, you can write yourself that out of 10 you are achieved, like you rate yourself 6. But you should have a answer to it also, that why you are rating yourself 6. What you don't know, that you have not made it 10. Okay. These answers you should be having with you. Other than that, you can mention these numbers there. These numbers play a very good role. Okay. Like suppose you have mentioned that you know a tool like IntelliJ, Unity 3D, and you have mentioned that okay, Unity 3D you rate yourself 9. IntelliJ you rate yourself 10 out of 10. Definitely, this is going to be eye catching. Then you will be asked questions also on that. But yeah, this will separate or outstand your resume from others. So that's all the mandatory points about when you are framing your resume for the role of a software developer, but as a fresher. Okay, guys. So now let us talk about how can you frame your resume if you are an experienced candidate. So first few points, common points I'll talk without keeping in mind that you are applying for a software developer role. So common things is that definitely to show your experience, you have to include these points. That is, what's your the work which you do, the achievements, the experience, and also the skills. So generally, what format it should be is, if I talk about that, so your job title should be there first. Okay. So like you have written here work experience tab, okay, or section. Okay. Inside this, first you should write your job title, the current job title. And yes, it should follow a chronological order again. The most current job which you are right now employed with, that should be first. Then before that, and then before that, and before that. Okay. So that is the last one. The oldest company should be at the last, and the new company that where you are currently working, the current company should be in the beginning. So you should mention here the job title or the designation, like you are a manager or you are assistant manager or you are a senior software engineer, whatever. Then you have to mention the company name where you are employed. Okay. Then these are the bullet points. Okay. The section. Then after company name, you should write the year, like from like 2016 to 2022. Mentioning month is required there where you have like not stayed for a year, right, in a company. Or you can mention the month as well, like June 2016 to uh, 2022. It's current, right? Current month you can mention. Or you can write just June 2016, and in the bracket you can write the current employment. Okay. After that, you have to write the location, that is the city and the country. Now, after that, in the subheading, sub bullet points, you have to mention the work which you have done there. Okay. That is, suppose you have worked on this project which had this kind of work environment, or this kind of tools you worked on to, whatever it is. Like if you have worked in a marketing team, you have to mention like that. Okay. Make sure to write numbers here also. That is, like for example, you have worked on a project for 2 years, or you have worked on a project for 6 months, and this project added this much revenue to the company. Or for example, you have worked on in this company for 1 year, and in last 1 year, the sale of the company has increased to this, where my contribution was into sales department. Okay, these kind of quantifiable values, if you mention, those numbers are always highlighted. Okay, and that catches the eye of or attention of a recruiter. Fine. So this is how you should uh, frame your resume when you are an experienced person. You have to mention the experience which you have. Okay. Again, skills here. can be added. Like as a fresher, suppose we write few skills which uh, the depending upon what courses we have learned, right? But here skills can be also if you have learned any new tool in your previous employment places, or if you have worked on a platform which was new and you learned and then you worked on it, so those can be added again to the skills section. Okay, so this was about the basic, like for anyone who is going to frame the resume for an experienced candidate, as an experienced candidate. Now let me talk about how can you frame your resume if you are an experienced software developer. Okay, so you have an experience in this field of software development, and now you are going to apply for another, higher designation, maybe, or higher package, whatever is your reason to apply for the job. In that also, see, the points are going to be same. That is work experience, education, and skills. But here, your with respect to software developer, what kind of work experience you can mention? If you have written some, tools or technologies under skills, make sure you are writing it that in the work experience also. That will be a good presentation of your resume, of your skills capabilities. That is, if you have written under skills that you know Java programming. Okay, and in the work experience, if you write that you this in this company, so you have to write, obviously, those format is the format is same. Coming to that part where you have to write what work you did at that company. So first you have to, the format is that you have to write here your designation, right? And then the company name, and then you have to write year from when to when. Okay, so time duration, and then you have to write place of the company, the city and country, nothing else. Then sub pointers will be there, and you have to write your all the work which you have done there, right? In that you mention that the project you worked on for suppose 4 months, you worked on a project for 4 months, and there you the module which you developed using Java programming was the most optimized code. You developed that in just 1 month. So these kind of quantifiable values you just mentioned here. So if you mention Java here, and if you're writing in your experience that you have worked also on that, that will be a good way of formatting the resume. If you're writing some tools here in the skill section, for example, if you are writing here that you know Unity 3D, suppose you're writing in tool section that you know Unity 3D. Okay, and in the experience somewhere if you are able to mention, even though you have not worked on that Unity 3D, suppose in any of the company, but you can mention that you have worked as a freelancer, right? As a freelancer, you have worked done a project where you have worked on Unity 3D. Okay, and you can write this, that you have worked as a freelancer on this and this project. Maybe that project you have developed on your own while learning Unity 3D. You can mention that you have worked as a freelancer, although the project was developed for you, but you have developed a project under Unity 3D. So for an experienced person, or for experienced candidate resume, this having a coordination between your skills and your work experience will be an added advantage, because you don't have to then just prove yourself that you know the skills, you possess the skills. It is self understood looking at your resume. Okay, now coming to education. So education, when you have like 5 years or 3 years or 10 years of experience, then your all the educations you need not mention. You can just mention your higher education, the highest education, I mean. Okay, highest education. Suppose you have bachelor's degree and after that no other education you had. So just mention that bachelor's degree in a single line, just as one pointer. You mention that everything in that line itself. You can write here, like suppose BTech, comma, the branch name, suppose civil, okay, software developer, if I'm talking, computer science, Okay, and after that you can mention the place, the university name first, university name, and then you can mention the year. Okay, 2008 supposed to 12 something, and then you can mention the place where it was. Or place is actually optional. You can skip this also. This is important, and then you can mention your CGPA if at all it is a good CGPA. So only higher education is enough because you have other things to add in your resume, right? And other education like your 10th and 12th doesn't is less relevant compared to your experience which you have to show in the resume. Okay, so you can just mention the higher education. So it's understood that if you have done bachelor's degree, definitely you have qualified 10th and 12th, and then you have done bachelor's degree, right? Or your master's degree. And if you have done two masters, suppose, or dual degree, you mentioned then both there. Fine. So that is all about your education for experienced software developer. Now let us talk about few websites which you can use online to format your resume or just get a initial template of your resume. So I have mentioned here the websites. I'm not promoting any of these websites, guys. You can explore it on your own, okay, and find out which one suits you. Okay, these are the few to mention which I came across. Okay, so like Jetty, Visual CV, Enhance CV, Resume Genius, Resume, all these are the websites where you will get templates, like hundreds and thousands of templates are there. Okay, but for like Jetty, there is like you can create your resume online, but if you want to download in a PDF format or in a Word format, you have to take a subscription of it. Monthly subscription has some initial cost. Okay, similarly for Visual CV also, you know. You can create a resume here online, but downloading and further if you have to create a two-page resume maybe or that kind, then you have to take a subscription. Similarly for Enhance CV and Resume Genius also, there are tons and tons of templates present there. You can select like you want a functional resume, or you want a chronological order maintained resume, or you want some skill based resume to be developed, anything of that sort. Then you can select those kind of templates. There are templates also specific to a job role, like you want to apply for a web developer role, you want to apply for a software developer role, senior software developer role, or experience resume of 10 years you want. So all these categories of templates are present there. But in these four websites, what I found was there is a subscription needed. In Resume, this is resume.com. So yeah, the website name is also jetty.com, visualcv.com, enhancecv.com, resumegenius.com, and similarly resume.com. So resume.com was a free website. Okay, so this was only one free website where you can create your resume, as many number of resumes as you want. You can download as many number as you want. But others, you can create just one resume. The second one, if you want to create, like you have to frame your resume depending upon the job role, right, which you are applying. So more than one resume if you want to create, then these had some paid subscriptions which has to be taken monthly or yearly, depends on which website you're using. Again, I'm not very sure with all these websites how they work. It depends on you again to explore and find out which one suits you. Okay. Okay, now let's summarize the video. Let's summarize the session. So here in this session, I have discussed about a different way you can format your resume for different kind of roles. So I discussed first few initial, tips and tricks, few do's and don'ts which you should keep in mind in general for developing or creating any resume. And then with, specifically if you are a fresher, how you should frame your resume and what all points you should keep in mind. And if you are applying for a role of software developer and you are a fresher, then what all should you include? And then coming to experience, your candidate, if you are an experienced person and you want to apply for a job of software developer, then how you should frame your resume. So all these points, the key points I discussed here, uh, And also at the end, I talked about few websites, although the websites are not in any way promoted by me, but you can refer to those websites and feel free to select anyone to go ahead and create your template. Although these resume websites, a fixed template is provided, right? So this fixed template can help you in managing the layout. You don't have to worry about the space, the proper placing of the text on a page. So in that way, these websites help you by providing a proper template. So that's all I discussed also under the websites which you can use for resume creation. So I hope you like this session. Thank you.